Joining me now is Larry Lindsey. He's the president and CEO of the Lindsey Group and former director of the National Economic Council under George W. Bush. And he just published a novel called Currency War. Larry, it's great to have you. It might be a novel, but it definitely deals with issues in confronting China. What do you make of the latest moves by regulators there?
Well, I think it's an important lesson that what matters to Xi Jinping, which is a little bit different than what mattered to his predecessors, is control. It's controlled by the Communist Party. That is first, second, and third, and growth is now going to take a back seat.
So that's, I mean, if growth takes a back seat, we've all been talking about the last 10 or 15 years, how China's growth model should be emulated by the world, and they're going to be the biggest economy coming out of the pandemic, and they're changing the rules for how you can do, this kind of capitalism. Have they gotten ahead of themselves? Have they gotten overconfident? Is it going to work?
Well, the trouble with forecasting is it's tough to do, particularly in the future. It's their decision. It's Xi Jinping's decision. He has made that decision. You can read any of his speeches at the various party congresses or working groups. He has taken a decidedly different tone. He would like to see China emerge as the leading superpower. Now, the official target is 2049, but he's now extended his tenure, and frankly, that's where he wants to go during his term, if he possibly can. China as number one.
So basically, China thinks it can be number one, even if for the time being they're cracking down on some of their biggest companies, out of concerns about data. And is this because the SEC here has been pressing Chinese companies for more disclosure? I mean, it seems like delisting in New York was one catalyst for this latest crackdown.
I think the main purpose of the crackdown is control by Beijing. They want to have more insight into what's going on the various platforms. And it's as simple as that. I think that concerns about the SEC and things like that are really quite secondary.
All right. Let me ask you, Larry, since we have you this week, and since maybe we're not going to know the China answer, if you suggest for 25 years, although we'll probably get some sense in the next year or two of how this is about to play out, and investors are keenly aware now of the market risks. I mean, Cathie Wood's been selling out. But let me pivot and ask you about the Fed. We have the decision tomorrow. You are in the camp where you say, as concerned as you are about inflation, as much as you talk about their models are wrong, you don't necessarily think they're going to start tightening because the uncertainty created by Delta here, correct me if I'm wrong, you think kind of delays that whole trajectory.
Right. Well, my job is not to tell you what I think what they should do. It's to tell you what I think they're going to do. And all political institutions, including the Federal Reserve, their main objective is going to be survival. That may be a little bit harsh, but you have to realize what they have is kind of a loss function. What if you're wrong? Well, there's two ways they can be wrong. They can either be too late or too early. And for them, the penalty for being too early, that is tightening and having something go wrong in the next 6 months, is very, very high. On the other hand, so what if they delay? I mean, yes, we'll have a little bit more inflation, and they'll deal with that when they get around to dealing with it. But the cost to them of waiting is much, much lower than the cost to them of moving and turning out to be wrong.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.